What's going on, everyone? So I got a little bit different video today. I am going to read comments, YouTube comments, and I'm gonna answer these YouTube comments as I read them. And let's do that. So for those of you that don't know, I've been away a little while. A couple of interesting things have happened to me, and I'll share those with you. For one, I had the rabies vaccine, which is a series of like 20 shots. 20, I'm exaggerating. The first dose of shots are about 8. I had to get immunoglobulin, which is rabies antibodies, and I had to get it injected into the place where I got bitten. For those of you who don't know, I was hiking and I got bit by a potentially rabid animal. I'm an animal lover. I love the outdoors. I'm always hiking, so it's only a matter of time before that was going to happen. I went to the hospital and I got the immunoglobulin. I got rabies vaccine, and I just had my last shot today, and it was a series of many shots over the course of a period of time. Now, did the rabies vaccine affect my tinnitus? I can't tell that it has, personally. I can't really tell that it has at all. Actually, when I got back from the last shot today, I was sitting down and I did hear my tinnitus, and I was like, I wonder if the vaccine had anything to do with it. But to be honest with you, I don't really care. I'm not going to risk rabies. Even if I had to rehabituate to tinnitus, it would not be a big deal. I'm not going to risk getting rabies. It is 100% fatal, and is also 100% preventable, meaning that if you get the rabies vaccine, you're not going to get rabies. If you don't get the rabies vaccine and you get rabies, you start developing symptoms, you will die. And it's quite possibly the worst death you could ever imagine. So, I got the rabies shots. So that's kind of what I've been doing. I had to go to a wedding as well, and I just got back from North Carolina where the wedding was. And when I'm on the road, my routine kind of suffers because in a lot of different places, I was able to do videos. I've just had a lot of different things on my plate. So back to a video, and let's dive into these comments. I hope I didn't make that too long. Let's dive into these comments, and I'm going to start answering some of these questions for you. I don't know how many I'm going to get through, but let's dive in. So this one, 9 hours later. I had tinnitus for 13 years, a buzzing sound. I habituated it well after a year. Forgot I had tinnitus apart from the old spike. In February this year, I woke up to pulsating tinnitus. Sorry to hear that. It was very annoying, as very loud rhythmic pulsing like in my head will explode. I have had scans and no cause found yet. Congratulations. That's great news. I would much rather have the buzzing. However, I am trying to habituate to the sound until a possible cause is found. This guy is right. You have to put it into perspective. I won't let it control me. Okay, this is the right mindset that Julian Willard 1367 has. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. But yeah, no, listen, this is the absolute right perspective you have to have. I tell people over and over again, you can't control what is a lot of times what is happening to you. You can't control if you have pulsating tinnitus. You can't control if your tinnitus is fluctuating. You can't control tinnitus at all. The only thing you can control is your perspective and how you choose to react to it. And ironically, once you let go of trying to control it, and once you let go of trying to stop the sound, it lets go of you. It's so ironic. It's like when you have tinnitus, what you want nothing more is to stop it and get it to go away, but you can't, right? So you freak out about it. Well, what does that do? Well, it engages your fight or flight response, and then you become obsessed with it. What do you do when you're obsessed with something? It's essentially something that you perceive to be dangerous. Your brain can't let it go. It turns the volume up, and then you stay stuck in the tinnitus loop, and it becomes very, 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 very difficult the longer you stay in it to break out of that. So this person is doing very well, and I believe I was in a similar situation like this. I had reactive tinnitus, especially with music, and depending on like if I have allergies, do I get enough sleep? If I'm not being healthy, I can have bouts of it again. But I believe more for me, it's my emotions, right? I don't have the emotional fortitude to deal with it. I'm tired. I'm like, oh my gosh, the sound. So I'm like, I don't think it's so much the sound. I think it's my, I mean, if I'm emotionally in a bad place, it can be more difficult for me. But keep doing the good work, man. This is the great perspective you have, and I pray and I believe that you will see a full recovery and be able to habituate again. So let's go to the next one. Robert Reeve. Hi. I have tinnitus for almost 40 years. The sound that I get, I can only describe, is very much like a World War II aircraft, a very loud roar, mostly in my left ear. That sounds like that's lower, like the more bass frequency tinnitus, it sounds like, on his left ear. He's, the only thing that gives me any relief is Robaxin, 750 milligrams. It is a muscle relaxant. I hope my comment is helpful. So it sounds like the muscle relaxant gives you relief because it turns off the anxiety. There is no medicine that can turn off the tinnitus. It sounds to me that the relief that you're getting is relief from your anxiety. This proves that it's an anxiety condition. There are people out there, if you took them and put them in the same situation, they reacted differently and they had no negative emotional reaction, they would probably get on with their life just fine. It sounds like if you've had it for 40 years, and I'm going to be completely honest with you, and I hope that this video finds you well. 40 years ago, there was not the amount of information that there is on tinnitus. There's a lot of these myths that come from where you can't do anything, there's nothing you can do about it. And I pity people like this that have had this for 40 years. My heart breaks for you, seriously, because there was not a lot of information back then. There was not information on CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, neuroplasticity. You can rewire the brain. The things you choose to focus on focuses on you. Yoga, living a holistic lifestyle that boosts your dopamine production and boosts your serotonin production, cutting out alcohol, tobacco, making sure that you're living a life that you are proud of, right? Can give you the strength, mental, physical, and emotional strength to get through these difficult times. None of that was available. They didn't have the internet. So I believe a lot of people got stuck in negative thought loops back when they had no information on this. They suffered for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And now that we know more information about it, it's very hard for people to let go of that because they don't want to choose to believe that they suffered for 40 years that they didn't have to suffer, right? It's like the old rabies vaccine. They had to shoot big needles into your stomach. Well, now we don't have to do that. It's just a shot in the arm, a couple shots in the arm, 20, depending on where you get bit. But no, but I would say, man, first off, I'm sorry you're suffering, and I really, my heart does go out to you. But I believe that the information has changed, and there is something you can do about tinnitus. You can change your reaction, you can cancel the anxiety out, and you can be just fine and go on and live a completely amazing life without having to suffer from it at all. So I hope that you choose to do that. Again, I can't tell anyone what to do. I can only share my experience with you and tell you that there is hope. So, Solvelis, I'm sorry, I probably butchered that, so forgive me. Do you have experience with hyperacusis? Any advice? I find that the sound sensitivity is much worse than tinnitus. Yeah, hyperacusis can be very difficult. I have, when I first had tinnitus, that was the reoccurrence, when I had to rehabituate to like the third time. I noticed my hyperacusis when I was putting dishes away, and I clanked the dish and the sound echoed throughout my head, and it was like painful, and I didn't want to do the dishes. Actually, I had an excuse, right? For not wanting to do the dishes, because it was hurting my ears. And so it was that was the what I noticed it the most was like dishes clanking. Also, my dog's barking would like just really hurt my ears as well. It was certain synth sounds. I would sit down to produce music, and the synth sounds it would feel like it was like echoing in my head. I couldn't trust my ears to produce music. I felt like my music was sounding bad. I had really bad ear fatigue because of the hyperacusis, so I could only listen for music for I could only produce for like an hour or 2 hours here. And so I wasn't getting enough done. But for me, it was certain sounds. It was definitely certain frequencies. would just basically reverberate through my head and would cause me a great deal of discomfort. My advice, so as I began to habituate to tinnitus, like tinnitus itself, the hyperacusis went away for me. And as I began to not notice it, as I began to, shift my attention, shift my focus, get into things that lowered my anxiety about it, I stopped freaking out. I learned to listen to my tinnitus. I learned to listen to the hyperacusis. I learned to be there with it and not freak out. My brain tuned it out. Now I could sit and produce music. I could listen to clanking dishes. I even, during the wedding, it was blasting loud and I didn't have my earplugs. I have earplugs right here. I didn't have them at the wedding. And, I was even experiencing hyperacusis then. I went outside and I was like, it's getting a little bit too loud. So I did go outside. I wasn't dumb about it. But, I feel like I feel like it's completely gone for me. And it was going through the process of habituation cured me of the hyperacusis. So I hope that helps. Yep. Drew Peacock says, valid point. Totally relate. Yes, it's so true. I also had an emotional and psychological abusive childhood too. I'm sorry to hear that. My heart goes out to you. This created an hardwired anxiety and butterflies 24/7 throughout my 42 years of life so far. Yes, I'm sorry to hear that. And I can relate because a lot of the problems we have, the issues we have in our adulthood, stem from our childhood. I truly believe that. I truly believe whatever psychological problems you have, whatever mental health problems you have, they stem from your childhood abuse that you may not remember. There are certain abusive things that I experienced that my brother tells me my brain literally blocks it out, but I'm sure it did happen. And the way it manifests is we don't feel safe. We feel trapped. We feel these things that we can't explain, because when we're a child and you're trying to navigate the world as a child, you don't know how to put things into perspective. You don't know what's going on with you. You are experiencing something. It is making you freak out. But what do you do when you're a child? You can't go anywhere. You're stuck at home, right? And I remember times I would run away from home. I would run up into the woods. I just didn't want to be at my house. But you can't go anywhere. You're stuck in that situation. My heart breaks for children who are in situations that I was in and that other people are in, because it does traumatize you. And then you have to do the work later on in life to heal yourself. And that can be very expensive. It can be very difficult. And it can be and you may succeed, you may not. I don't know. I'm not telling people that they won't succeed, but I'm telling you that it's very hard to change yourself later on in life. So if you're a parent, make sure that make your children feel safe. And raise them correctly. I'm not going to make a video on how to raise kids. I've never done that, but it's much better to prevent it than it is to fix it. So, but it is possible. You can change yourself. People can change themselves. You can better your situation, better your life. And it sounds like you are doing things. If you're on here watching these videos, you are doing this. Bro, hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well. Common Wolf, you've always commented and supported this channel. Makes sense. Good video. I hate wearing ear protection because all I hear is the hiss and the ee. Drew Peacock. My friend, get used to listening to your tinnitus. Learn how to hear it. I would put hearing protection, just sit, meditate with it. So when I have to put hearing protection in, it's not a big deal if I hear it. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It all depends. If I'm thinking about it, I hear it. Sometimes I don't. I usually don't hear it. I hear my tinnitus maybe 1% of the day, less than that. I barely. Some days, weeks will go by, I never hear it. Some days go by, I never hear it. I'm talking about it. I don't really hear it. To me, my brain perceives it as silence now. So tinnitus is silence. Silence is tinnitus. And I don't really even ever hear it. Thank God for you, Dan. Simply said, great message. Thank you, George Costanza. Appreciate the comment. Coming back, and I'm making this video because I want to keep giving you all content, and I'm sorry for being away. Polka 123. Again, sorry, brother, if I botched the pronunciation. Great video, bro. You need more subs. Thank you. That's a kind comment, my friend. Thank you. I appreciate that. Joey Lloyd's, hypothetically, yes, absolutely yes. Would I get a tinnitus cure if I exist? Would I get a tinnitus cure if it existed? No, because cures come with I don't think I would, because I have silence, to be honest with you. If I'm being completely honest with you, if you asked me that when I first got it, before I habituated, I would say absolutely yes, for sure. I'd be like, give me the cure. This sucks, whatever. Now, It's, I mean, there's really nothing to cure because, what am I going to do? Like I am healed. So I'm not just saying that to get views. It's the honest to God truth. Ask me that if I end up having to habituate again, I'm, oh no, back to, whatever. Anyway, Blanca Costas 8226. Keep the videos coming, please. I will. Great video. Thank you. 2 weeks ago, I did an MRI on neck problems. I did use hearing protection. I did use hearing protection in general is when it is loud, and my audiologist recommended that from silicone. But during MRI, I felt it's too loud, and now the hissing sound that didn't bother me after the MRI got very, very loud, and I don't know where it came from from the MRI because I had a very stressful situation in the same period. If I compare it to 5 months ago when I did the MRI, I used foam earplugs and I was not bothered at all. I'm afraid that the MRI did aggravate my T and I feel so sad. I hope it will turn around with time. Please be patient. This comment said, please be patient. I'm right there with you. I keep messing up and making it worse, but we have to live our lives. So I'm sorry that you had this encounter with your MRI. I've never had an MRI, knock on some freaking wood, because I believe I'd be a little claustrophobic, but if I had to get one, I'd force myself to do it. I probably wouldn't be happy about it, but it is what it is now. I don't have experience with MRIs. I have heard that they are pretty intense. The sound can be very loud. It can sound like jackhammers. Knowing that, I would definitely bring my earplugs in and I would have earplugs in. The MRI, I don't know how loud they can be. Did the MRI aggravate your tinnitus? It's possible that it did. I'm not saying it didn't, but it is possible. If it was very, very loud, it could have aggravated your tinnitus. I wouldn't worry about it, and this is why. Because you are taking the steps to make sure everything is okay, getting MRIs, staying healthy, consulting with physicians. You're doing the right steps. So just give yourself a little bit of credit. Say, I'm doing the right steps. I'm being healthy. I'm getting everything checked out. It's part of the process, is what it is. If my tinnitus is aggravated, just know you can habituate multiple times to tinnitus. Okay? If it's part of the process that you're going to feel a little anxiety from this. Bothersome tinnitus is an emotional condition. You're worried that you mess things up. And the thing you have to realize is that you have to be there for yourself. You have to walk yourself through this. You have to support yourself emotionally. If you don't, who is going to? You can't beat yourself up. You have to be there for yourself. You have to pick yourself up. What's done is done. It's happened. You are where you are. You can't rewind time. You don't have a time machine. So you need to be there for yourself. That is the best thing you can do. And go down the steps of getting your life on track, talking positively to yourself, thought journaling, meditating, yoga, all this stuff, this holistic stuff, body-based practices that bring you into your body. Begin the journey of neuroplasticity. And I believe you absolutely can make a full recovery. It will take some time. It's not going to be instant. Nothing worth anything in life is instant. There is no instant cure for this. But there is things you can do to get your happiness back, get your life on track, and live a life that is amazing, beyond your wildest dreams. I do believe it's possible. There's a bunch of things I'm overcoming now. Just had rabies shots. And life is never dull, but I'm going to be grateful and thankful for any moment that I have, any life I have, air in my lungs. I'm going to be happy, going to be grateful. Yes, and this comment is correct. Be patient. Be patient. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I know how painful bothersome tinnitus is. I know how horrible it is. I know how challenging it is. I know where it's like. I know what it's like, especially, it's just like laying in bed at night, freaking out. And it's horrible, but there's hope. That is my message. So that about wraps it up for this video. Make sure to comment below if you want me to continue doing more videos like this. I didn't get to all the comments in this video. But I will make more videos like this if you want to see that. Make sure to comment below. But until next time, thank you all for watching, and I will talk to you all later.